Tell me when. Hello folks, welcome to the opening day of the first ever season of Lane United Football Club here in Springfield, Oregon. It's a beautiful sunny day today, hit highs of 80s, and I'm joined here by Riley Dellinger in color commentary, Jake on the camera, my friends Dylan and Chris behind the scenes working as the producer. You see the teams lining up. It is LUFC, Lane United Football Club, taking on the Seattle Sounders U23 squad here at the Willamette Lane Center in Springfield, Oregon. Starting lineups for LUFC. Number 3, Julio Alarcon at defense. He is 20 years old, stands 5'11", 165 from SDSU. We have Francisco Pancho Vizcano playing forward. He's 23 years old, 5'11", 170 pounds from St. Louis University. We have playing in the midfield, Mikel Doalis, standing at 5'10", 20 years old, 170 pounds. Rolando Velasquez, midfield and forward. He is 17 years old, 5'11", 150 pounds from Junction City, Oregon. We have Brendan Anderson playing defense, 22 years old, 6 feet tall, 175 pounds from Oregon State University right here locally. We have Connor Bevins playing forward. He's 19 years old, 6 foot tall from Gonzaga, hometown Anaheim, California. At number 17, Amir Sesiavich, who's playing midfield, 19 years old, 6 foot, 175. And in goal, we have Matt Bersano, 21 years old, 6 foot 185 pounds from Oregon State University. Dirk Vanderveld playing defense, 20 years old, standing 5'11", 165 from UOP. That's the University of Portland, hometown in Bend, Oregon. We have, fleshing out the lineup, Kyrie Shelton, midfield, 21 years old, standing 6'3", and 180 pounds. We'll take a break as the opening ceremonies commence.
Cheers to Seattle. If we got people to comment, just so.
Can you be this one? Testing, testing, testing.
They say that backwards.
This guy needs a lighter PA system.
Do you know him?
Dude, good turnout.
Yes, it is.
It's more than Oregon hockey already.
Yeah, they bomb.
Looks like a really, Dad, that looks like a good burger. It's like a good burger. And Chris, if you have time to get maybe more talking points, just anything you can think of, that'd be much appreciated too. And you could do that like on your phone or on like a piece of paper or whatever. right, folks, thank you for joining us here on YouTube for LUFC. That's Lane United Football Club's opening match of the Premier Development League versus the Seattle Sounders U23 team. I'm joined here by Riley Dellinger for color commentary. Riley, obviously this is a young team. It's a new team here in the league. This is their inaugural season here out of Springfield and Eugene, Oregon. What do you expect to see? Obviously, we have never seen this team before. This will be their first official game. That counts towards the PDL. What might you expect in order to get a result against this impressive Seattle Sounders team?
Well, Connor, it's a new team. It's new players coming into a new system. Obviously, there's going to be some things to work out. But there are 6 players from the Oregon State University varsity team, so there is that core of cohesiveness. But Coach John Gallus is really going to want to take this game slow and make sure everything gels, and hopefully we see some exciting football.
Absolutely. So, in saying that, the refs are doing the coin toss and the mascots are leaving the field, and we're getting ready for kickoff. What do you think about the pitch here today at the Willamette Lane Center, Riley?
Well, the pitch looks great. The weather's great. I don't think this is a great day for watching soccer and playing it for that matter. I think it's going to be a pretty exciting game to watch. The fans are sure enjoying it.
We have the Red Aces Supporters Club on their own bleachers to the right side right now. They are releasing their flares out before the game. Always good to have those fanatics here to support their club. I know the team enjoys seeing those fans here and knows that they are there with them out on the field, and hopefully they are able to feed off of that energy. I want to take a moment to thank our title sponsors here for Lane United Football Club, Oakshire Brewing, who has a tent here. They are serving their beer, and we thank them very much for their continued support. If you take a close look at the Lane United jersey, you will see the Oakshire logo on the front, so thank you, Oakshire Brewing. Also to Ten Sagerty for all the help that you do with our team, KEZI, ABC News Channel 9, Slocum, the official team physicians of Lane United FC, as well as Two Town Cider. And once again, thank you to the Premier Development League for deciding to take on this Lane United Football Club into the league, and a big thank you to the Tethero Golf Course in Bend, Oregon, who provides training and other equipment for the team. Thank you to our other sponsors, and we will hopefully get you some coverage soon. And we are getting ready for kickoff. Right now, it's Frankie Lopez on the ball for, actually it is Martin Lukasic on the ball for Lane United FC. Lukasic the ball for Lane United FC, playing in the midfield listed on this roster, 23 years old.
You can really see the excitement, feel the excitement from the fans right now. It just makes the experience that much better. Hopefully the players can feel that energy, like you said, because it is absolutely packed here, and considering it's the first day of the new season, it should be a great day.
And here we go, opening kickoff, Lane United with possession, opting to go back into the defensive third. Here is Anderson, plays it back to the goalkeeper. That's Bersano. Bersano taking his time. Upfield from Bersano. Lukasic headed it back. Now ball moves forward. It finds Kyrie Shelton. Tries to take on a defender, loses the ball. Seattle Sounders out for a throw in Lane United. Riley, you did mention that this is the first game of the season, as I've mentioned, and we do have a very packed house here. How important do you think these fans will be, not just for today, but for the remainder of the season?
Well, I think the Pacific Northwest has always had a very passionate, interest in soccer, and so considering this is the first game, this is great turnout for all the fans, and we'll hope that continues.
Sorry to interrupt you here, Riley. Here's Kyrie Shelton working his way into the box, snubbed out at the last second by the Seattle Sounders. Still Lane United dominating possession in the first 2 minutes here, working out to their left back. That's Cesarovic. And he gets stuffed on the left corner. Ball worked up by the Sounders now. And they turn right back over to
the Sounders haven't had a sniff here at all. It's been all Lane United.
After the ball for United is Wayhan. Still with Lane United. Seattle can't seem to get a footing here, Riley.
Well, they can. They're just very spread out right now. They're using the width of the pitch. They're being patient with possession. And really, the Sounders haven't had a touch of the ball.
Playing it safe, the possession game here, back to Bersano. Bersano over to Anderson. Anderson finds himself in a little trouble, dribbles his way out up to Rolando Velasquez, the young 17-year-old, it's worthy to note, from Junction City, Oregon, fresh out of his high school career. Actually, not fresh out of his high school career. He's still in high school playing for a semi-pro team. What is in his future, Riley?
Well, it looks like a bright future ahead of him. I mean, being 17, that makes me feel a little bit old just thinking about that.
Two 21-year-olds up here in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, but it should be an exciting game from him. Hopefully he gets some touches on the ball, gain some confidence early on.
He's going to Oregon next year, Oregon State next year, to play on their D1 team. Here he is, though, for Lane United this summer. Excited to see what the 17-year-old has in store. Finding his way into the starting lineup on a pretty deep squad of 33 players, Riley. That's getting in the starting 11 of that. It must be a special talent considering that these players can get all the way up to 23 years old. Here is Kyrie Shelton working his way into the box. Turn it over. Slide tackle successful for Seattle. Turned over in a dangerous area in the center of the field. Counter attack now. Here is Villiardi, who plays it up and to nobody to the Lane United keeper. No shots on goal from either team yet. Looks like they're just trying to get their feet. Breezy day out here. Maybe the wind could sweep across this very flat and thin turf. We'll see if this turf has any effect on the game. Lane United seem content with possession in their own defensive third. Matt Bersano now.
Focus on the try and cover everything.
Bersano now plays it forward. Still Lane in possession. Hopeful ball forward, almost flicked back by a Sounder in the path of Kyrie Shelton, though cleared wide. Velasquez just praying there in open space for the ball. Alone with the defender on the back post if Lane United can find its way over there. Poor throw-in play, now for a Seattle throw-in.
It looks like Lane United is going to be playing in a 4-4-3-3 setup as of right now. They're using the width players in the attacking third and using the two midfielders, the defensive midfielders, to really keep possession and focus on cycling of play and just very patient play so far.
Seems like patience might be the name of the game here today, as neither team yet have a shot on goal. Seem content just to try to keep possession. A little bit of space here on the wing for Seattle, and they find him. That's a great ball across field. With a little bit of forward momentum comes Seattle. Tries the 1-2, doesn't come off, and into space for Lane United, though. Seattle is back. Here is Lane United, the 17-year-old. He's pulled down, and the ref late whistle, but whistle it is. The young 17-year-old Rolando Velasquez there drawing the foul out of Junction City, Oregon. Quick from Lukashik, but the ref calls it back. Numbers coming forward now here for Lane United as the big Julio Alarcon comes up from SDSU, 20 years old, big body, standing at 5'11" rather. Taking the kick here for Lane United is Lukasic. A good ball, a little bit shallow, though did worry the keeper and the defense there for a moment. The ball runs out of play. Lane United throw-in. First impressions of this Lane United squad so far. I know they're young, but I say that this is quite impressive so far, Riley.
I'd have to agree. John Gallus has been saying that the last 2 weeks they've looked good, they've looked sharp, and just getting used to the system, but for the first 15 minutes they've been great so far. First 10 minutes, excuse me.
Especially against a team that's wearing the crest of an MLS, that's Major League Soccer squad. This is their, you can call it their amateur team, their under-23 squad playing here, but you know, this is to groom those players that perhaps could play in the MLS one day. So
yeah, this is no slouch of a team. These are good players, and so this is a real test for Lane United, especially in their first game.
Moving forward now for Seattle. Cross-field ball. Good turn by Chris Wahan. The possession play for Seattle Sounders seems like it might come through Michael Biza, from Tampa Bay, Florida. out of North Carolina State University. He looks to be patrolling, kind of playing maybe that Shavy role, that deep-lying playmaker role for the Seattle Sounders, content just to lay the ball off and hopefully find its way back to him. But once again, Lane United on the ball. Turned over. Good tackle by Lane United and good distribution by the number 7, Vizcaino.
That's poor play, turned over.
Goalie is well off his line though, seemed to be playing more of the keeper sweeper role there. Easy clearance for him. Vizcaino only arrived here about 2 days ago, just worked his way into the first team after one practice and into the starting 11, so we'll see how that works out. Very little practice with this team, but I think that can be said for most players out here. Foul now goes the way of Seattle Sounders. Free kick. This will be the first real opportunity in the 18-yard box, given that they are able to have good distribution off of this free kick. Just by the looks of it, it looks like Lane United even has a slightly bigger squad just physically than Seattle Sounders, so you would expect them to do well, but Seattle gets their head on it, not really troubling the Lane United keeper, who plays it forward on the run now. It's a 3-on-3. Here's an opportunity for Lane United, tries to chip it over the center backs. No success there. Good forward momentum and good thinking on the counterattack though from Lane United. Here they go, trying to recycle, and a great turn by Lane United, finding back post. The cross, there's a little left to be desired after that. Wasn't able to find his teammates in red on the back post.
You have to say Lane United is using width very well at this point, continually getting balls out wide.
And the fans continue to trickle in here as Seattle is now in the offensive third. Thank you for tuning in with us here on YouTube, and remember, this is not only the team's first showing in Lane, but this is this broadcast team's first showing, so bear with us as we figure out these names and we figure out this process, but looking real impressive right now is a first game from Lane United. Space on the right, opts to play it back to the keeper. No pressure here from Seattle. As you said, Lane United looked as if they were playing a 4-3-3. It looks like Seattle is more playing a generic 4-4-2, 2 wide midfielders and 2 strikers.
They are, and they're very narrow if you notice. The back 4 is very compact. The fullbacks aren't getting forward. They're very defensive-minded.
They seem to be keeping their shape pretty tightly. The defensive line for the Seattle Sounders looks pretty straight. The midfielders look like they're staying tight and their movement looks solid. Maybe part of the reason why Lane United is having a little trouble here working the ball up the field. Tries to chip it over the top. Those balls very rarely work out as Seattle plays it back to their goalkeeper. That's Jake Thiener in goal, number 31 for Seattle. Plays it up to Luis Estevez. Turned over to Lane. Clement Simonin clears up for Seattle. Throw in for LUFC. It is a little gusty out here. You might be able to hear through the mics. Riley, will this wind have any effect on the play here today?
Well, of course it's going to have an effect. It's a strong breeze, and the flight path of the ball may be altered, but a lot of the play has been on the ground so far. Occasional long balls, but it's been mostly played to feet.
One of the few long balls did result in that early chance for Lane United from the 17-year-old Rolando Velasquez. Here was Seattle almost finding some room there, and almost a 50-yard effort from Seattle's captain, that is Adam West, almost found its way, or rather Michael Biza almost found its way in, deflected along the way.
The goalkeeper's done that several times this game, come outside the box, taking risks that may have a little bit to do with, a lack of communication with the defensive line. Hopefully we won't see an effort like that mistake for a goal.
You got to wonder if Coach John Gallus instructed him to play a little bit off of his line as more of a keeper sweeper. He does seem to be holding a pretty high positioning for a goalie. Already involved twice in a defensive clearance that perhaps you might want to see cleared by the center backs. Some room up the right wing now. Here's Chris Wahan. Distributed it out there wide to Bobby Siegel, who crossed it in and cleared just before it was dangerous by Lane United. Corner kick now for Seattle.
It's their first real foray into the Lane United defensive third right now. You can see the great pass from Willian to open up space for number 7 on the right.
Fans continuing to stream in here. The flags flying above the Red Aces supporters group, as you can see over by the corner kick. For a first showing, Riley, this is a pretty impressive amount of fans out here for Lane United.
I'm very impressed. Very impressed.
The team running on a very small budget and still able to get the support of the locals. It's always important for the growth of soccer in the Pacific Northwest, as exhibited by the Portland Timbers, who are newly, well, maybe not so newly now, but relatively new to the MLS scene and one of the strongest fan bases in the entire MLS.
You have to say the Pacific Northwest fan base is fanatic, I guess is the word you describe it. It's the energy at these games is pretty remarkable.
Ball trickles out for a Lane United goal kick. Riley, what needs to happen here from Lane United to start getting some of that offensive pressure back that they had in the first 5 minutes?
Well, the reason they were so successful in the opening 10 minutes was they were patient with the play. They didn't, try to force balls over the top. They kept it to feet. They looked for the opening in the defensive line. If they can keep doing that and avoid getting counterattacks by the Seattle Sounders team, they could have some success.
Great play there by Kyrie Shelton, who's already been involved multiple times this game. Draws the foul. Now crossfield ball. Finds a little bit of room. This wind you can definitely see stalling that ball in midair. Here is Lane United. This could be the first real shot on goal. Here is Velasquez, the 17-year-old. He had tricky feet in the corner. Tries to find himself some room to cross it or shoot it. Instead cleared out by the Sounders for what should have been, at least in my opinion, a Lane United throw-in, but the ref saw it differently. It will go Seattle.
He's a live wire, Velasquez, the 17-year-old.
Quick feet, Riley, quick feet. See those green boots of his in the sun. Must be tripping up the opponents a little bit. Lane United finally gets a spell of offense, and last few minutes we've seen them mostly in their own defensive third. Turned over kind of cheaply in the center of the field. Here is LUFC on attack again. A little bit of room now. DeHollis distributes out to Velasquez, who's been heavily involved. He gets an early cross, takes a strange deflection near post. Goalie, though, adjusted, able to hold it to his chest and push his troops forward. Plays it short. Lane United doing a decent job of holding their shape. Their midfield looks a little jumbled as of now. Seattle finding room up the left wing. Plays in behind, but we will have an offsides. This left wing looks to be the point of attack for Lane United with Velasquez, Riley.
Well, Velasquez has been great so far. He's been a great player coming up in the Portland Timbers Academy. He was actually invited to train from the U.S. National Under-17 team for a little bit. So he's definitely one to watch this game, and he has proved so far.
He's been involved, and he seems just to be totally content finding himself a little room back post, and Lane United right now seems content to just try to throw the ball forward in the air. Now a little bit of confusion with Seattle as the goalkeeper's forced to come out and clear for Lane United throw-in.
That's the thing, Connor. The wind is making it really difficult to find the accuracy with these long balls. And that's 3 or 4 now that have gone astray or directly to a defender.
Throw in, Lane United. Good cross. Velasquez is on the back post. He takes it, takes his time. A little bit of a jump off his foot there. Remains in possession. Now, time to shoot. There was a tug on his jersey there. His shot did not find a corner. Instead, right down the middle to Seattle's goalkeeper, Jake Feener. Out wide now for Chris Wahan. Plays it back to Bobby Siegel. Crossfield ball now. Great ball from Seattle. Here is number 7, Jamal Cox. Centers it. Cleared out by Lane United. Important clearance. Good spell of offense here from Seattle. And it will go out for a corner kick. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at Lane United FC, and also search Lane United Football Club on Facebook. Be sure to interact with us on our social channels. We have a lot of product giveaways and other things that you can navigate to. Check out our website, laneunitedfc.com, to check out our club store. Vanderbilt's hamstring right now seems to be a little tight. Trainer out there tending to him on the field, getting that stretched out. We don't want to see a sub this early in the game here, do we, Riley?
Well, we don't, but you have to understand this is the first game for them. A lot of cohesiveness isn't there. A lot of match fitness isn't there. That's what Coach John Callis is really going to want to see. Excuse me, John. There are 7 subs allowed in this game, so you will see John Gallis really switching teams up, switching formations, players coming in and out, so we can really see the full effectiveness of the squad, which is a big squad.
It is a big squad with about 33 players here on this particular roster we're looking at. It seems like he will be subbed off here, coming on as soon as we can see that number. Get that report to you.
No need to take chances this early. No need. Sub them off. You have 7 subs. Might as well use them.
Into the game is number 6. That's Casey Phillips for Lane United. Corner kick cleared out once again for another corner kick for Seattle Sounders. Good clearance though from the boys in red. Into the fray comes the corner kick, though cleared out by Lane. Now a chance for a counterattack. Just opts to boot it, get a little bit of time as the ball is lost in the sun. The players, though, react well. Now a little bit of a counterattack for Lane. Great ball up the left wing, though. A bit too much weight on it as Seattle takes over. Right back up the field. A little bit more pace coming into this game after the introduction of Casey Phillips for the injured Dirk Vandervelde. We assume that that is a hamstring injury just based off the stretches that were happening on the field, but we'll keep you in the loop about Vandervelde's injury, the 20-year-old out of Bend, Oregon from UOP, out of the game. Good work once again from Velasquez to keep control of the ball under pressure. Now up to Amir Sasarevich.
I think a star player so far, I know it's early in the game, but the player that's really stood out for me is DeHolis, number 8, that defensive holding midfielder. He's been really distributing the ball well, and along with Velasquez have been wonderful.
You'd have to assume that Velasquez gets 1 or 2 more of these chances, and he might put one. Great ball from Velasquez. Here's a wide open shot for number 14, and the first goal of Lane United's career. Connor Bevins, the forward from Gonzaga University out of Anaheim, California. A great goal. Velasquez, as we were talking about him, looked up, found his space up the right wing. Running onto the ball was the forward out of Gonzaga, and Bevins, who slotted it past the goalkeeper, who stood no chance at that angle. Lane United takes the 1-0 lead, the first lead of their young career as a PDL squad here at the Willamette Lane Center in the beautiful and sunny Lane County.
Wonderful ball by Velasquez. We've been talking about him constantly these first 20 minutes. It was always going to come through.
The Red Aces showing their support with their flares that are spilling onto the field. Always good to see the flares. Hopefully the smoke doesn't affect any of the play, as we are
the assistant referee for that matter.
Or the assistant referee, as my color commentator here can attest. We are. Oh, great desperation tackle from Lane United, and it seemed to hit his chest. The ref, though, saw it hit his hand, and he gives the free kick less than a yard outside of the 18-yard box. Real opportunity here for the Seattle Sounders.
As the smoke spills onto the field, this is really the best opportunity that Seattle Sounders will get this far, except for the earlier free kick that resulted in a chance gone by. You can see they have many men back behind the ball. They don't want, when you score a goal, that's when you're most likely to concede. And of course, Coach John Gallis doesn't want that to happen. Only one player up top, who is DeHolis.
DeHolis, who's listed on our roster here as a midfield / forward. We really are just going off of what the roster tells us, as this is the first game, but he is seeming like he is playing that offensive midfielder role, maybe that Iniesta role, just acting as that linchpin between the forwards and the midfield, and he is the sole player up top right now for Lane. Though it must be said that Seattle right now has 4 players back. Free kick up and over, always rising. Did not quite dip down enough, never really had a chance on goal. Although Lane United has to be nervous after conceding, and that's a testament to how they cannot sit back and relax. 22 minutes here gone in the first half, about 20 minutes here to go. 1-0 Lane United. Content with possession as they ease it back to their keeper.
You can see from the Lane United starting 11, there's a lot of fluidity amongst the attacking regions. The forwards are playing off each other. The midfielders are coming into the mix as well. While the Sounders is they're very rigid starting 11, very compact in defense. Hopefully that will suit the United team. Hopefully they can break through their rigidity.
It seems like, as you were just suggesting, Lane United is playing a little bit more of a creative, loose formation. The midfielders are floating a bit more than Seattle's midfield, which are holding a pretty tight square line across the field. Oh!
Some great dribbling play.
Great dribbling, but a harsh foul following. Great to see the kids running around here below us, Riley. It's a huge part of this this movement here in Lane United. The hashtag that Lane United will be following this season is hashtag deeply rooted in the community, deeply rooted in the kids leagues that are playing here, and hopefully this fan base can respond accordingly and continue being deeply rooted in not just the local soccer teams, but just the local movement that's happening all together here in Oregon. Now Bersano back with the ball. Up the right wing. Ball's just dying there in the wind. You can see that. Seattle now. Good flick forward, but out of play.
It looks like number 14, Connor Bevins, is having an issue here.
A little slow to get back from his last offensive foray. Riley, so far it seems like John Gallis has thrown together a pretty solid squad.
Well, considering the amount of time he had to do it, it's pretty impressive that they've started so well. They had the one injury, which is unfortunate, but other than that, all the players look fit. They're hungry, looking to attack.
Seattle with an opportunity there. Looked like they had a good shot on goal, however, called back for offsides. And I've been involved in team activities, Riley, back to the point about how this is pretty impressive for how young they are. And I have to say, a lot of these players just flew in this week. They've had 1 or 2 training sessions, and that's all John Gallis has had to work with, and he's been able to identify a starting 11, and so far they seem to be working pretty well together. You can't really pick out a weak point. You'd maybe want to see a little bit of more work in the midfield. The ball hasn't really been on the ground much in the midfield, opting to skip over them and just blast it forward, but they do carry the 1-0 lead.
The forwards have been excellent today. The defense could use some better communication, but that's to be expected.
And through on goal. Great save by the Seattle keeper. Active off of his line was Jake Feener. A little bit of time now for the Lane United defender to clear. Here is Poncho, as they call him, Francisco Viscano, the forward, or number 7. Seattle now trying to maintain possession. Foul by Lane United. Moving forward now is Seattle for this free kick, trying to get the ball into the box, hopefully creating their first opportunity on goal here against LUFC. Though they have had a few corner kicks, nothing. Great ball, though, from Seattle. Finds the head of the Lane United defender, still bouncing around on top of the 18. Looking to clear is LUFC.
They're struggling to clear the ball right here, Connor. And they have done several times throughout the game. It's a great ball, and they're starting to use some with the Sounders team. I feel like that's why they struggle in the opening, half of this opening period, is that they didn't get the ball out wide and they were trying to play through the middle. And Lane United's been stopping them so far.
Another corner kick here. Great ball, almost rising and finishing was Michael Biza, seemingly the most active player here for Seattle Sounders U23, at least the one that I've been announcing the most. Correction, that was actually Michael King, number 4, the center back, rising up there for the header.
Looks like we have another player down.
This time for Seattle as the ref runs over to make sure everyone is okay. Don't want to see injuries this early in the season, this early in the game. He will hobble off, and
it looks like he'll be okay, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was in fact subs, considering they have the 7 subs available to make, and this early in the season.
And there's 3 Seattle players already warming up on the sideline, so plenty of players that would be able to slot in and take over that position. Quick play in from the LUFC keeper. Lane United content to build from the back, although it always seems to end up in a long ball forward. There's Velasquez helping back, able to find his center back, who distributes out to the right. Cutting back to the D. Little space here on the left wing if they're able to find the switch. Casey Phillips just sitting on the left, waiting for the ball to come his way. Still with a little bit of space is Casey Phillips, just hugging the sideline rather. Now tracking back as the ball is turned over to Michael Biza.
Velasquez has been everywhere, all over the pitch, tracking back for defensive responsibilities, also running forward, making plays with the 1 assist to his name. It's been really, really outstanding so far.
Not a big frame on him, but he's able to use that frame and his 150-pound 5'11" to cover more ground than anyone else so far. Great defense from LUFC. Now working his way up the left wing is Kyrie Shelton. Kyrie cuts back.
Very patient play, waiting to get players up the pitch, really using the patience and maybe the fact that the players aren't as conditioned, that may have something to do with it, but they're really making Seattle work to get back into position before they advance once more.
And that was good awareness from Kyrie Shelton to move the ball up the right wing, realized that he didn't quite have the angle to hit that crossfield ball, so opted to pull it back and find that help. And here comes the ball, and flicked, almost flicked in. The goalkeeper came out, was very physical with his body, and that saved a goal.
These in-swinging balls are really making it difficult for the Seattle defense and the keeper. It's 3 or 4 times now from wide areas they've crossed it in.
Good clearance by Julio Alarcon, the defender out of SDSU. Taking his time on the throw in is Seattle. Leaving it for his left back, that's Bobby Siegel, to come up and take this throw. 30 minutes gone, Riley. We're almost halfway through this opening game of the PDL season here in Lane County. What are your first impressions, these early impressions, I must say, of Lane United so far?
Well, considering this is the first game ever for Lane United, I have to say I'm impressed at the showing. You can see there is rustiness, there is a lack of cohesiveness, but in all honesty, they played very well so far, and I'm excited to see what the rest of this game will bring.
Sketchy play in the back from Lane United as they do turn it over. Here is Seattle with some numbers forward. Taking the shot from distance, always rising and over into the dirt lot behind the goal.
That does seem to be the issue. Their patient play may actually be the downfall of them. If their center backs try to pass it out from the back and then end up losing possession, Seattle has definitely been countering them.
Goal kick now for Bersano, who has not really been tested this game, but it must be noted that he is a big body from OSU, 185, 6'1", 21 years old. He's not a small keeper in the least, and you'd have to assume when he is called into action, he can use that kind of lanky frame to stretch across the goal. Here is Seattle with a little bit of patience. There's the captain, that's Michael Baiza. Tries to center it, turned over to LUFC, who have numbers in the middle now. A little short, long forward up to Shelton, though. Shelton one-on-one, does great to turn, finds space up the wing, has a man in the middle, more coming at the top of the box. Handball, it looked like. And unfortunate play there for Rolando Velasquez, who, after what looked like a handball from Seattle inside the box, it found its way to Velasquez, who skied it over the net from only 6 yards out.
It was a difficult chance, but considering the way this game has played out so far, I thought that was going to go in. It looked like he just maybe scuffed the contact a bit, but great play on the wings again.
Great play from Shelton, who's dominated that right wing so far. No answer to him over there. Oh, and there's some contact in the middle. Fair contact, though. Seattle with the ball. More fair contact. LUFC now finds Velasquez on the left. Velasquez with some room. Tries to thread the ball between two Seattle Sounders players. Turned over. Sounders now with a little bit of space.
The center back for Lane United, number 13, Brendan Anderson, has been pretty aggressive going into challenges, not afraid to get stuck in. He's been playing, he actually played every game at Oregon State over the last 2 years. He's definitely an experienced player, and considering 5 of the other members of Lane United were his former teammates, could end up being beneficial for them in the long run.
How important is it to have that core of players from that have played together for, at least a year?
So important, considering the fact that some of these players only got 1-2 days of training before they were thrust into this game. You need that familiarity to really have the players, feed off each other.
A few internationals out here for Lane United, Riley. I'm not sure if you've dived into that research yet, but we do have Lou Kashik, who is a midfielder out of Nuremberg, Germany. New Brandenburg, sorry, Germany.
There's also a lot of American internationals as well at the under 17 level and the under 18 level. Pretty impressive to see.
Especially good to see for such a young club.
It looks like there's a lot of experience, except for Velasquez, who seems inexperienced but is playing like a seasoned professional at this point. Here he is again, just losing out.
Still a workhorse, though. Never stops sprinting, although very unlikely he'll see the ball. Forward now from Seattle. Great clearance from the bulky center back of Lane United. Great turn again from Lane United and Lukashik, the German international. Forward to Velasquez. What a ball. You can just see it dying in the wind, though. You know that Velasquez was looking for that to come over the top, but the wind just stopped it in midair and dropped it right onto the Seattle defense. A little bit of space up the left wing, mistouched by number 15, Luis Estevez. Estevez now tries to cross. It comes off of Cicerovic, and for a Seattle throw-in. 35 here gone. 1-0 Lane United off of that early goal. The assist from Velasquez, and the goal shortly following.
They've really struggled to break down through Lane United's defense. Most of the opportunities they've had are their based off set pieces. There's the one corner earlier in the half, the 2 free kicks also were troublesome. But other than that, from open play, Seattle have not been able to penetrate into the defensive third for Lane United.
Another great turn. You've seen a lot of chances created just off the great technical play from Lane United. Speaking of great technical play, though, a wayward pass from Dohalis.
Just a little bit too much on the ball, but great idea. He's been doing that constantly. He is a forward, so he might have, a bit of not the passing range that you would expect from a traditional midfielder, but he's getting into great positions. He's really reading the game well. Aggressive play once again.
Cleared up and high, just buys a little time, settled in midfield by LUFC. A little bit of work up the left wing from Velasquez, who finds the substitute, who drops it back. Good work from Lane United to create a little bit of space for themselves. As we're here in the broadcast booth dealing with some heavy winds, and we apologize if that wind is feeding into the microphones and causing a little bit of trouble with the audio. We apologize. Here is Dohalis, who turns it over. Now one-on-one for Seattle, and he beats his man. One-on-one on the goal. Great save! Called into action for the first time this game was Bersano. The shot seemed destined for the top right corner, and he sprawled out. He found his left hand and pushed it out wide for a goal, or for a corner kick rather. Seattle with their first real chance of the game, Riley.
Really strong hands there. It was a great save. You know, that's the first piece of action he's had this far. Kellen Hansen with a great run, beating his man. It's really the first opportunity they've had so far. And they're keeping the men forward for this corner kick. We'll see if that amounts into anything.
And this time Lane United drops all of their players back into the 18 for this goal kick and cleared out easily by Lane United's number 17, and that is Amir Sasarevich. Seattle now trying to work the ball forward. Players still up from that previous corner kick. Bouncing around. Seattle now with a little bit of space to work up the left wing. Great backtracking though from Sasarevich.
Sasarevich has been great on that right side. Traditionally a forward player, has been given a more defensive role for this game, but he's really been a workhorse so far, getting up and down the wings, feeding balls into the forward area.
Good cut back from LUFC now, buying a little bit of time. Velasquez has plenty of space over here on the left wing. Cross-field ball to the substitute, Casey Phillips, who lays it back for the very active Mikhail Dolahis. Here he is again. Took a deflection, and Phillips will let it go for a throw-in.
Better watch out for these kids in the throw-in.
Throw in for Seattle now. Ball's back in play. Leaping up for it was Pancho Viscano, not able to get to it. Velasquez.
Oh, that's an aggressive challenge right there.
It's an aggressive challenge, but Velasquez definitely made a meal of it. And there he is again. See, that's the play we don't want to see, and I don't want to victimize anybody here, but Velasquez definitely made a meal of the initial tackle, and then after a tiny bit of contact from a player just backtracking, didn't know where he was going, and he responded a little bit aggressively to that, and we hopefully don't want to see his talent ruined by perhaps a curt attitude.
Well, he's definitely been in the spotlight so far this first half. He has the assist, the one missed opportunity in the box, and now this. He's definitely a live wire, on and off the ball.
Velasquez shaking hands with Chris Wayhen, who he tried to upheave from below as Wayhen tripped over him, and hopefully no love lost there between the two players.
The referee's having a, let's say, a polite word with the Seattle aggressor for that challenge.
I think that was actually the third man in who came to maybe have a friendly conversation with Velasquez and say, hey, that's not cool, man.
He's kept the cards in his pocket, though, the referee, which is nice to see, especially this early in the game. Just get on with the game.
Good to see the kids lining up here on the sideline wanting to be involved in the play as closely as they can. Phillips now back.
They definitely got a very close opportunity to see that earlier challenge on Velasquez.
Forward now, Shelton pressuring number 3 of Seattle. Now back to the goalie and forward. Good to see LUFC, though, as young as they are, not shying away from the physical aspects of this game, Riley.
It's been surprisingly physical so far. It was very shy in the first opening minutes, feeling out the game, but as the game's progressed, they've gotten a little bit more, swagger about that, a little energy going into challenges, not being afraid to go for the ball.
.40 minutes gone, 5 minutes left in the half, possibly some change. Seattle now finds the ball and finds a little bit of space in the back. Here is Oscar Jimenez, who finds his center back, Michael King, back to the keeper. Whiffed clearance forward, although we will have a free kick of a foul off of the ball.
It appears as though Connor Bevins and Velasquez have switched wings for the moment. I don't know if that'll be a permanent fixture, but maybe to avoid the aggression from the earlier challenge from Velasquez, but he's really been getting out the fullbacks.
Good play from LUFC, forcing a throw in. Seattle now looking to find space up the wing, hopefully get a scoring opportunity. You'd imagine Seattle would want to slip one in here before half as to not go into the second half a goal down. Offside call.
It's a great ball across the box if it wasn't offside.
And if there was a man there to be on the end of it.
They definitely have a defensive-minded approach here, Seattle.
A lot of space, though, on this field. You see all the players really crammed into a box there. All this space all around on either side, and all the players within maybe 20, 30 yards of each other.
Yeah, and that seems to be working in advantage of the Sounders because they're not allowing United to play through them at this point. Although it does appear that when they do have the opportunity to counterattack, Connor Bevins and Velasquez are very open in space on the wings.
Good physical play to shield the ball as it goes out from
great play, Brendan Anderson.
Big Brendan Anderson, 22, 6 foot, 175 from OSU, one of those core OSU players, and also a local Oregonian from Moyola, Oregon. Once again, thank you to Oakshire Brewery, who provides all this delicious beer enjoyed by our fans here at the Willamette Lane Center in Springfield, Oregon. Sun setting right behind us, Riley, and these lights will be coming on soon and filling in from where the sun leaves out. Here is Lane United looking for space. Finds space up the right. Here is Amir Cesarovic.
It's Cesarovic has been really great on the right side so far. He definitely has a shot on him, the converted forward, Cesarovic. We've seen a couple long-range goals in his time. Wouldn't be surprised if he pushes up again later in the day, especially now that Vanderveld has been recalled from injury.
And he has a cannon of a left foot, does he?
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Forward now. Good clearance from Seattle. The big number 4 Michael King has been active at center back, except for that one goal that you can't really say was his fault. It was a great threaded ball from Velasquez that really stopped any chance of defense from Seattle. Sloppy play there from LUFC, and Phillips is let known that by his defender. LUFC now tries to get a little forward momentum. Ball is played back. Oh, this is a little sloppy. 2 LUFC players pressuring the keeper. And the ball gets moved forward now. Seattle with a little bit of space up the left wing if the ball is true, and it almost is. Great clearance, though, in the back from Lane United. Seattle still trying to maintain the pressure. Seattle back to Michael Baiza. Michael Baiza, the captain here for Seattle, plays it into Thomas DiViardi, who plays it to nowhere to the goalkeeper for Lane United.
I was just wondering who the captain was for. I was thinking the key. Oh, it is.
The captain here for Lane United, the goalkeeper, that is Matt Bersano, one of those OSU players now, forward. Finding Velasquez, who too short for that one. The ball flew over his head, though. Here's Kyrie Shelton, the taller body. Tries to play it forward to Velasquez, to no avail. Now creating some room for himself. Good on his feet, Kyrie Shelton. Good at cutting back and finding that space. Lane United patient in their build-up. Another hopeful ball forward.
earlier in the game they were really playing in defeat, keeping the ball on the ground, keeping possession, but it seems that they've really tried this long ball technique, a little more direct play for a little bit. That's an aggressive challenge.
It looked like
players not afraid to get stuck in.
Excuse me, Riley, sorry. It looks like the shin of Casey Phillips there found the studs. That's the bottom of the shoes, the cleated part of Chase Hansen for Seattle. You never want to see that. That's how you really break your shin, and that can be a career-ending injury if you put all that effort into clearing a ball out and your momentum is stopped by the bottom of someone's shoe. You've seen many careers end like that. We don't want to see that here. It was a 50-50 challenge, it must be said, and a little bit of a limp he has, but he is up, and
he looks like he'll walk it off. He's a tough kid, and you never want to see the substitute go out as a substitute again.
Maybe they'll sub Vanderveld back in for him. Here's Chase Hansen for Seattle, who's been active in this game, and the halftime whistle from the referee. We want to thank you all for joining us here on YouTube and tuning in to the opening match of Lane United's young but successful so far PDL career. 1-0 going into halftime, 45 minutes in. Riley, what do you expect to see from each of these teams going into the next half?
Well, I expect some subs, to be honest. I feel like there's going to be some tired legs. You know, it's early in the season, but you know, as of right now, maybe a little bit more of a positive, but not necessarily direct play to really, you know, play through their defense.
The chances have been few and far between here. However, the one chance was taken and executed finally from a Velasquez assist. 1-0 going into the second half. We will rejoin you here momentarily. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to Lane United versus Seattle Sounders here at the Willamette Lane Center in Springfield, Oregon, in the inaugural season of the Premier Development League. That's PDL here for Lane United. 1-0 heading into the second half. No visible changes out here for Lane United, as Seattle now with the first offensive foray of this half.
You can see the sun's setting a little bit. The light, natural light, is dying down. The lights are on, the stadium lights, but unfortunately the wind has not gone away, so players will definitely have to deal with that still.
Started off with a little heat this afternoon. It was a little toasty on our backs, and now it's cooling down real quick. Will that have an effect on the players here in the second half, Riley?
I think they're warmed up. They're good to go. Oh, great take by the goalkeeper.
That's Matt Bersano, number 18, the captain here for LUFC, and that needs to be mentioned, that was a great free kick, kind of whipped in, and he was very aware to be off of his line, or else that could have ended up on the head of a Sounder. Great play from Kyrie Shelton, just the simple play, finding it wide. Turned over though. Nutmeg and a little bit of forward momentum here from Seattle. Oh, great step and great turnover forced by the LUFC defender.
I have to say, Brendan Anderson's been, aside from an early mistake giving the ball away, he's been outstanding.
Back to the keeper and Matt Bersano, who clears it up. Seems pretty true on his feet, Matt Bersano does.
He's not afraid to dribble the ball a little bit. He's willing to play.
And he's certainly not afraid to get off of his line. Velasquez there, checking back, and easy on the
some more antics from Velasquez.
Some more antics. That's what we don't want to see this early in the season, this early in the game, is a player kind of getting lost in his own acting, if you will.
He is a young kid, though. There's time to mature, time to progress, but he's getting into one or two little altercations.
Turned over too easily and too cheaply, and with some speed. Just kept out by Bersano. What a save. Still Seattle, though, in the offensive zone. Snake to get around him, get around Phillips. Rising at the back post and just over the net. The second real opportunity of the match, quickly followed by the third of the header of Thomas D. Viardi. What a header. Lucky not to get it on net, or that would have been in, Riley.
You have to say that they've really come out of the blocks right now. The Sounders have started the second half very well. Much more attack mindseted. Definitely trying to counter and really created the two best opportunities of the game.
Forward now comes Lane United, now going left to right rather than right to left as the first half. 47 minutes in, 2 minutes into this new half here at the Willamette Lane Center. Down again easily is Velasquez, or not Velasquez rather, excuse me, is Pancho Vizcano, who needs to be mentioned, only has had one training session with this team. John Gallus coached him at the Real Salt Lake Academy. That's the Real Salt Lake of the Major League Soccer. John Gallus was the academy coach. He coached him there, and he wasn't sure how sharp he was going to be coming into Lane United with only a day of training, but after one day, John said, yes, this is the man, and here he is in the starting lineup, back under his old coach from Salt Lake City, Utah. Seattle now. Seattle having a little bit more luck this half. A ball over the top, corralled well by goalkeeper and captain Bersano. Taking his time, finding the wide open Dohalis, who turns upfield and has his man beat with a little bit of room. Here is Bevins. Back to Dohalis. Dohalis picked off. Great tackle from Seattle with a little bit of space moving forward. Dumps it towards the corner. That wind really helped him out there. Excuse me, dropping the ball. Phillips, though, back to clear it out.
You can see that Severovic and Casey Phillips have switched over the halftime break. Severovic now back on his natural left side. Casey Phillips is filling in at right back currently.
Casey Phillips with a tackle, and that was
a reckless challenge by Casey Phillips.
It was a reckless challenge by Phillips. I didn't really see the contact too much, although if there was contact, it would have been a foul, but he did make a meal of it and won the foul. Perhaps defending himself preemptively by jumping over that wild tackle. Reckless, though, in nature, it does deserve the free kick, but it will go for a corner. The ref didn't see anything in it. Now to the back post, rising well was a Lane United defender to clear it out. Still working to try to get this out of the attacking third for... Oh, that's a clearance by Velasquez. He really went for it. Yellow card is out. Yet to be determined who it's going to. It looks like it will be going to a Sounder. Velasquez, in clearing that, he went, he kind of did a volley clearance up and found the studs of a Seattle forward, just like the Casey Phillips tackle earlier where he got the studs to the shin. It looks like Velasquez also had a similar injury, though back up, and he's walking away from that tackle just fine. Good to see.
It looks like it will be Simone who gets the yellow card, and that's several challenges in succession that have been maybe a tad reckless. That's the first card of the game, which is nice considering the physicality of the game so far.
Refereeing so far, Riley, you think it's up to par?
I think it's been okay. He let play go on in the first half. He let the players play. There was the altercation with Velasquez. He managed to settle that with no cards given. I think it's been pretty good so far.
What? Who got the card? Here's Lane United now turning. Here's Dohalis with a little bit of space. Opts to play it back to his center back in Brendan Anderson, one of the OSU contingent. Now with Julio Alarcon. What do you think of this backline for LUFC? They haven't been challenged too much. I don't know if that's because of the success of their midfield and forward or because of their steadfastness in their line.
Well, I think the United midfield is really helping the defensive line out with the solidarity they've shown. They've kept possession very well, but you have to say players like Brendan Anderson have been really stalwart in their defending. Great tackles thrown in. There's a physicality, especially on set plays. They're really getting up to the ball, really putting their head in and putting their feet in when they need to.
Still a 1-0 lead here for Lane United at their home turf at the Willamette Lane Center. Sun is officially setting. We're losing all sorts of heat here, and it's getting chilly out on the field.
You wouldn't know it from looking at the fans, though. Just as rowdy, just as loud, just as into the game as in the first half.
A little bit of time here as we wait for a LUFC throw-in. Picking one player to focus on for the rest of the season, just off of what we've seen so far in the 50 minutes. I know we've talked a lot of Velasquez and Dohalis so far, but who do you think will be an important player aside from those two for this LUFC squad?
Well, their goalkeeper has been outstanding so far. Bersano, the captain, he's really going to be the talisman. He's also part of that Oregon State core that we've mentioned so many times. I think if he is able to be up to the challenge and really play...
Excuse me, Riley. Here's Dohalis with the shot. He aims back post, and not quite enough steam behind that, but it was great for him to get his head up and see that he had that one step to make that shot, and just into the hands of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's Bersano, Dohalis, and Velasquez who have been absolutely great today. Here's Dohalis again.
Oh, and what a dummy from number 31, Kyrie Shelton. That dummy almost led to a scoring opportunity, but he was a little bit too smart for his own teammates there, it seemed. Here is number 15 of Seattle, Luis Estevez, playing it forward. Great keep-in, almost by Nico Hansen, but it called back by the referee.
I don't know if that went out. I thought he had that.
I think the fans here, the home fans even thought he had that, as there's a big sigh of an oh after there's the whistle. Great to see all the youth fans playing on the field during halftime, and that's definitely part of the hashtag deeply rooted movement, as a great play from number 6 of Seattle almost leads to a chance in the middle, but cleared out well, and Shelton on the chase with number 13, Chase Hansen of Seattle. Once again, thank you to the LUFC sponsors, primarily Oakshire Brewing, Tensegrity, Slocum, KEZI, and Tethero Golf Resort in Bend.
Another player a little bit slow to get back up to his feet. Maybe felt the effects of some challenge earlier.
Looks like he will be taking a seat at the end line for the time being, and holding his head, I think he is, and walking with a limp. Not sure what's wrong with him. We'll keep our eyes on the number 17.
Well, it looks like he is being subbed out now, as you can see from the center line. Looks like they're not afraid to take chances.
Coming in is Frankie Lopez, listed as a starter on our team rosters, but now he is coming in for the Seattle Sounders, slotting in at what looks like a forward or offensive midfielder role. Seattle now. Their dark gray and light green jerseys. One of the I would say one of the cleaner looking jerseys that I've seen.
The Lane United jerseys?
And the Seattle jerseys as well, but Lane United certainly
beautiful.
looks good in red out here.
The neon green doesn't do it for me, but I like the more subtle reserves away strips here.
But wouldn't you like it if they looked as much like Manchester United as they possibly could, wouldn't you, Riley?
I can only hope.
The Reds here move forward. Lane United on the ball. Turned over now. Here's an odd number attacked, and he had room to slot it forward across the goal and does so too late, but draws the foul in the process. Free kick for Seattle in a dangerous area about what looks like 30 to 35 yards out.
Poor challenge, but you have to say he had to make some sort of attack, whether it be a legal or illegal one. It was a 4v3 attack right there for a second.
Too late distributing was the Seattle Sounder forward, and not able to create a scoring chance from that, but he did create a free kick that 3 men for Seattle is standing over the ball now as Bersano directs his wall of 4 players, and not a lot of bodies forward here for Seattle. You must assume that they're going to take a shot on goal from this distance. Shot on goal does come to Flex. Bersano, no trouble there, just over the bar. We will have a corner kick after it clips off the top of the Lane United wall.
Of the 5 free kicks that Seattle have had so far, you have to say that that was the closest attempt they've had. That deflection could have gone anywhere, but Bersano, very calm, very collected, ushered it out of play.
And if that did miss the deflection, that did have a real shot on finding that corner. It did look to be about the right height, and it did look to be dipping, and perhaps that's why it did clip the top of the wall. Here is the corner from Seattle. Short corner, cleared easily out by Pancho Vizcano, the recently added player to this roster.
You have to say that their distribution from corners and from out wide really has been disappointing. When they've gotten into positions, they really haven't been able to capitalize. And there's Kyrie, number 31, the forward. His off-the-ball movement's been really helping his team out, really getting into space as a hold-up player, knocking balls into him and passing back to DeHollis and other midfield players.
So far, what you've seen from Seattle, Riley, might not be what we would have expected going into this game. How do you think they break down this LUFC squad that they really haven't created too many real chances against?
Well, I think that this half has really been all Seattle. They've managed here again, great tackle, but they've really opened up their play a little bit. It's not as rigid. It's more fluid. There's a lot more attacking verve. It looks like LUFC are on the back foot right now.
As Kyrie Shelton, though, gets a little bit of forward momentum, though quickly turned over by Connor Bevins, who had a foray up the field and just clipped the ball out of play. Working the ball through the back is Seattle. Velasquez looks to have lost a little bit of that energy that he had chasing down the ball in the first half. Opting instead to occupy the space on the right wing. Hasn't quite been as involved as he was in the last half. In fact, I don't think he has had an offensive opportunity yet as Seattle moves forward with numbers. Clips the ball through. Great interception by Phillips. Saved an opportunity there.
Great defense by Phillips. He's been reading his man time and time again.
And a great turn there by number 10 of LUFC, Lukasik, as they move up. Here is Connor Bevins, turned over to Seattle. Seattle's captain here, playing an outside of the football, almost in and behind. What a clearance, though.
Bit of a lucky clearance. That could have gone anywhere.
And if it did go behind him, the Seattle striker number 9, Nico Hansen, would have had the angle on the keeper and perhaps a one-on-one. Here the ball goes wide to Seattle. Seattle low and in. Bevins, that is Bersano, the keeper, dealt with a tough deflection and tracked the ball before it found its way into the back of the net or to another offensive player's foot.
They're really missing some of the stability they had in the first half. They played the possession game, they played the numbers game, they waited for people to get up the pitch, weren't afraid to slow down the play, control the tempo, but it seems like Seattle has quickened up play a little bit, and I think that has to do with some of the tiring of legs, the rustiness. I think it's getting to the LUFC players a bit more than the Seattle players at this point.
So how does LUFC react to this turn of momentum in this game, Riley?
Well, I think they need to make some substitutions. I think their midfield, they've been great, but you can see a little bit of tired legs out there. Velasquez has also been great. You can see he doesn't have quite the energy he had in the first half, although here he is again getting stuck in once more.
And we saw him just a second ago playing up the right wing, and here he is really playing
at a left back position,
left back role right now.
He's covered every, I don't know, square inch of turf on this pitch so far.
And I would suggest, for better or for worse, is you don't want one of your talented one-on-one players who is quick with the feet and can beat a player. You don't want him spending all of his energy backtracking on defense. Rather, you want him, maintaining his energy, staying up, and not using those legs as much as he has been so far. So, as much of a live wire as he has been this half, you might see John Gallus' substitution pretty soon. And I'm surprised.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I'm surprised there haven't been more substitutions.
Considering the amount of subs they have, it's a little bit interesting that more haven't been made, except for the one out of injury.
And it seems to be Seattle is winning most of the 50-50 balls now, as Bevins really has not contested any of the Seattle center backs for those clearances forward so far. Here's Velasquez defending against the number 13, Chase Hansen. Plays it forward and turned over. Brendan Anderson turns it over in the middle. Seattle now. Oh, a missed clearance by Casey Phillips, although his missed clearance also feigned the Seattle defender. Turned over now, and with a shot just cleared wide. That was a real chance for Seattle, and throw in now, quickly taken back to number 15, Luis Estevez, who throws it into the middle. Captain now of Seattle tries to find a man, deflects it just enough. Seattle still in possession. Turned over, and here's a counterattack opportunity for LUFC. Here is the live wire, Michael Dohalis, who tries to be patient and play it back, but a little bit off of his ball. Now here's Velasquez on the left, never afraid to take on a player, although he does the 1-2 back to the streaking Sasarezovic. Here, back to the streaking Sasaverovic, rather, and here is Shelton, who's taken out from a tackle from behind. The ref, though, waves it on, saying, all ball. Switching the field of play, you can really see the wind's effect on that ball, and it really knuckled on its way over. Good trap by 15, although it looked tame in nature. Here is Seattle streaking forward, crossing it into the middle, only to the head of an LUFC defenseman. Well played wide and out by LUFC. Here is number 10 of LUFC, Lukasic, moving forward.
You can really see how Seattle's winning the midfield battle here. They're really pressuring LUFC, but their defensive line has been very strong so far. The two center backs, Anderson and Alarcon, have been absolutely fantastic with their clearances.
And a shot on goal goes about 10 yards wide, but that had some pace behind it. Looks as if we'll have a corner kick here for Seattle. 62 minutes gone, 1-0 lead here for Lane United FC in their inaugural game in the PDL at Willamette Lane Center in Springfield, Oregon. A lot of these players are from Oregon, specifically the core of 8 or so players from Oregon State University, many of them featured in this starting lineup. Impressive play so far from Lane United, but it's been all Seattle FC here in the second half at this twilight game in Springfield, Oregon. Corner kick.
Let's hope this delivery will be better than the previous. He's put a stop to the game. Some shoving in the box.
Strong delivery to the back post, and you would imagine had there not been that whistle, there might have been a Seattle head there to meet it. Hopefully that ball comes in again, and no cards given, just a warning and a firm talking to. Ref backs off, and we will retake the corner kick. Here comes the corner for the second time after the whistle. Better delivery, this time back post, up and in. Goalie doesn't come out, defenseman though there to clear it.
Bersano putting a lot of faith in his defenders there to clear the ball. It was a little bit risky. I thought Bersano might have gone for that.
Here is LUFC with an opportunity. Velasquez there with those slow legs. You would imagine in the first half he would have been there. Seattle now with some space in the middle. Here they go, finding number 10 of Seattle, Frankie Lopez, who plays it up and over the top to Luis Estevez, who has a real opportunity, and men back in support. Estevez opts to take the move, and a shot at the near post. That's the save of the match there from Matt Bersano. That's the best save you're going to see this game, I almost guarantee it.
Bersano, great, getting down really quick with a strong right arm, keeping it out. It would have been a great effort. Near post, managed to keep it out. Great save. And that's 2 so far in the match.
That's 2 great saves from Bersano, but that initial move from the Seattle Sounder really created space for himself, and you would have thought that he would have tucked that in, but that purely is a save. worthy of ESPN top 10. Velasquez cleared out.
Bersano again in the mix of it. He's been great so far. Him and Velasquez have been, I mean, Velasquez in the first half and now Bersano in the second.
Another opportunity for Seattle. Back to that amazing save, though. It's great to see that out of your keeper. Perhaps even better to see that out of your captain as a platform of example for the rest of the team.
It does, and as the other players will probably attest to this, having your captain, knowing that your goalkeeper is able to make those kinds of saves and keep your team in the game, really reassuring for the players.
Finding space up the left wing now is LUFC. Here is Lukashik.
You can see they're almost playing with the front four at this point. You can see that, Shelvin has gone out to the right wing. He's been played as a striker, number 9 most of the game. But here he is. Oh, just cut out at the last second.
John Gallas must have seen how tightly the Seattle Sounders team is playing and urged his team to find the width a little bit more. Now turned over, and there was a gap there in the middle, instead finding Shelton, and Shelton takes a dive over the top. 2 players sliding in, make contact with each other as the ball rolls out. It will be Seattle Sounders ball. That's probably the best chance that we've seen so far from LUFC this half, perhaps disappointingly because of all of the action we saw in the first half.
Yeah, a bit of a tame half so far. Hopefully they can get their heads back into it. I know there's tired minds and tired legs, but you have to say that the decision-making on that play wasn't ideal. Great dummy ball through.
Too smart for his teammate, however, as it gets cleared now back to the defenseman, Bobby Siegel of Seattle Sounders. Now through a little bit of room has number 14, Connor Bevins. Connor Bevins cuts in, evades the tackle. He has a man in the middle. He tries to play it square to Curry Shelton, but the square ball was expertly cleared out before a chance could come of it, and we will have an LUFC corner kick. The fans here reacting to the first real chance of the match, or of the second half, rather.
Yeah, great run from Connor Bevins. Excellent. You know, you see a lot of players go down after some contact like that. He didn't. He stayed up. He was determined to get the ball in. Unfortunately, he was cut out, but hopefully the corner will result in another chance.
Not throwing too many bodies forward here is John Gallas, as about 4 LUFC players are outside of the 18. Ball comes in, deflects to the top of the box. That's a handball. The ref does see it, does call it, much to the objection of DeHolly.
DeHollis did not like that decision.
Yeah, but that couldn't have hit his hand anymore. Up the right wing is Seattle, looking to exploit that space that they've so expertly exploited so far this half.
It's interesting the contrast between the two halves, the two teams. The defensive line for Lane United this half has been very, very stalwart, but very in line, not venturing forward very often, much like Seattle did in the first half, and it seems those roles have switched a little bit. The fullbacks, Severovich and Phillips, have definitely stayed more reserved this half.
You would even think these two teams have switched jerseys just based off the momentum. Really, Seattle dominating this half and Lane dominating the second half. Velasquez beats the player one-on-one. If that is not a yellow, I don't know what is. Velasquez, though, showing his quick feet. The card is out.
Great quick feet again from Velasquez, and that's always going to be yellow, the tugging of the shirt. Poor defense.
Never afraid to beat a player is Velasquez, one of several on the team who have those quick feet and the ability to beat a player one-on-one, creating that space for himself, creating that yellow card for the other team that will work only in LUFC's advantage, and you have to think that Velasquez really wants to get on the score sheet in this game.
And as a 17-year-old, that's the kind of hunger that you want, you know, a young player really driving his team forward, and he's done that so far this game. He's been a little bit reserved the last 30 minutes, but he's made another opportunity for his team.
And after the dragging of that shirt, you can really see that defenseman from Seattle really is having trouble marking Velasquez, and that was a desperation. Sometimes you might see less experienced ref give that a red, although I think it was the correct call. Phillips with a great swerving ball into the box. No LUFC player on the end of it, though they keep it alive. Seattle eventually clears, only to the feet of LUFC, who dumps it back into the offensive third to an on-rushing Bevins.
It seems like the fullbacks from Seattle can't really keep up with the pace from Velasquez and Bevins. You know, the fullback who was just booked, Bobby Segal, he can't deal with the pressure from these wide areas. The pace on them is pretty incredible.
Here's a goal kick for Seattle, one of the first of this half. A testament to how little offense has been produced from Gallas' side, as we will have the first non-injury related substitution. Off comes number 7, Francisco Pancho Vizcano, the forward, 23 years of age, out of St. Louis University and out of Florida. On comes once we see the number, we will report who has just come on. This is Edgar Gomez, number 20, the midfielder for LUFC.
Edgar Gomez, the substitute, a Riverside native, probably will slot into that midfield role, that a straight swap. His favorite player is Xavi. He'll probably try to emulate him in sort of a deep-lying playmaker, possession type of role. And after the Seattle effort from at least 40 yards goes sailing wide.
Is that the type of player that needed to be introduced into this game, Riley? The kind of deep-lying playmaker, content just to distribute the ball and hopefully get it back soon after?
Well, I think so. They need a sort of calmness in possession, someone who's willing to distribute it out to the forwards who are very advanced at this point, Velasquez and Kyrie Sherman, or excuse me, Kyrie Shelton. Sorry about that. They're very pacey along with Bevins. They're all getting forward up into the wide areas. They need someone to find them and put the ball into feet.
Perhaps forward substitution is coming soon. And really,
you can see the players warming up behind the bench, several of them.
Seattle with a little bit of room to work, opts to throw it to the back post to Casey Phillips, cleared not too well, just to the feet of an on-rushing forward. Here is number 15, who has created many chances for himself already this game. Great tackle.
Connor Bevins getting back and doing his defensive duties.
As a forward, that's good to see from his teammates, and Shelton now with challenge from behind. Not letting that physical play get to him and calmly distributing the ball back to his support. Velasquez
chasing this ball down,
and he might win.
He pulled back.
That's another yellow card, possibly even a red. Here comes the ref, and he is giving the call the other direction.
In favor of Seattle, it appears.
The Red Aces almost running onto the field. We got to be careful about that. Red Aces, of course, are the fan section, the official fan section of Lane United Football Club, commanding their own bleachers over there with their own flags and smoke, as we saw earlier after the LUFC goal. Velasquez, though, getting a little chippy and contesting this call with the referee, as I believe he should, because it was 50-50 physical play, and then the Seattle Sounder went down, tugging Velasquez's jersey along the way. And
I have to say, I'm not very certain about what the call was there. Maybe an exaggeration of contact, but it seems like it was a 50-50 battle the whole way.
Good play from Bevins, again tracking back, maybe filling in the void that Velasquez has left from his defensive display in the first half, although Velasquez now has tracked back as well. Looks like Kyrie Shelton is the lone forward here for LUFC. Seattle on the ball, almost turned over, but here it is finally. Velasquez, though, always easy to recognize with his bright yellow cleats. Finds Shelton, who's good at that hold-up play in the front. That's onside, but just on this turf, the ball runs a little bit too quickly. Perhaps on grass, he would have made it to the end. But
well, perhaps in the first 10 minutes of the game, with some energy left in his legs, he could have chased that down, but it wasn't to be this time.
Still a confident play from Lane United, and they want more of that leading up. Handball, but deemed accidental by the referee from Shelton. And looking forward now back to Shelton. Here he is, one-on-one with the goalie. Very, very bad angle. Opts to take the shot instead of buy time and maybe see who is coming in and finding the support pass. He did have Bevins in support with DeHaul. DeHaul is behind him, and plenty of opportunities there to kind of slow up the play. That's indicative of Lane United this half, kind of rushing into offense and rushing into passes and shots that they perhaps shouldn't be taking. Goal kick now from Seattle. Perhaps
it was poor decision making from Shelvin, but you have to say he's put in a shift tonight.
Another sub. Here comes Velasquez, as we predicted earlier. Great play from the young 17-year-old who had a brilliant assist, a highlight reel worthy assist, threading the needle for that first half goal to give Lane United their first ever PDL goal. 1-0 it remains in the second, although Seattle has dominated. Fresh legs. A little bit of a scrum there. Looked
several little
altercations by both players
occurring now. Definitely heating up a bit. Lane United are fighting their way back into this game. And you have to say Velasquez was outstanding in the first half. He quieted off, but he was definitely the stealer of the show in the first half. Great to see you from the youngster.
On for Velasquez is number 21, Chico Sastre, the forward, 22 years old, standing 5'8" and 155 pounds from Post University, and from Sao Paulo, Brazil, another international taking the field for LUFC here in Springfield, Oregon. Seattle now trying to find room to shoot in the offensive third. Here is number 20, Bobby Siegel, who's been heavily involved. Still looking for that, either that final ball or that space to shoot. Lane United, you must give them credit, is doing very well to shut down all of these passing channels. A clearance goes wide to Bevins. Bevins with a little space to operate now. No players really getting forward for him, but Shelton is skirting the line, and here he is working with his big body to play it forward to himself, and he hits the deck, waved off by the ref. You could imagine that he might have been able to stay up there and create a real opportunity about that. Boos from the fans, as you might be able to hear.
Now you hear the passion from the fans coming out. They're not happy with the ref's call. Perhaps it was the right one, but you know, getting into the correct position again. Bevins with a great ball over the top.
Seattle in control as they have had most of the half. Here comes the left back who passes it into the center. Seattle moving forward. Speculative ball to the right wing, almost kept in, but LUFC throw in with number 17, Amir Sesevarovic. Oh, here we go, and almost an opportunity for Seattle then, but cleared forward, and now coming the other way is LUFC. Getting involved for the first time this game is Chico Sastre.
76 minutes on the clock here, and it looks as if Lane has definitely evened the score a little bit here.
We have a player down for Seattle. That's number 11, Chris Wahan. He just made his way to the sidelines after, I believe, receiving a clearance to the stomach, which was then cleared directly after upfield. But Wahan now takes his place back on the field, uncontested on the right wing, as the ball almost is distributed out to him.
It looks as if the reason that Velasquez was subbed off the pitch was due to a hamstring injury. It looks like he's receiving treatment on the sideline currently. Unfortunate to see that happen to such a young talent so early in the season, but to be expected. He really ran over every single square inch of the pitch today.
Edgar Gomez getting involved for the first time. Chico Sastre, who's just introduced, is super slick. He has a lot of creativity, so expect that forward momentum coming from Sastre and hopefully finding that width that has really been lacking so far from LUFC this half.
I think what Seattle is really struggling to do is find that final ball. Like you can see here, the chance that was just created was just a lazy ball over the top. There was no real direction in the pass, and you have to feel they're working the ball up the pitch well, but are not able to finish it off.
Bevins almost turning and beating the last defender, but stepped in the way.
Phillips caught out of position.
Phillips was caught out of position. Now here comes Seattle, tripping it over the top. Would have gone long, you could have imagined, but instead deflected up into the Seattle player, number 9. That's Nico Hansen, who's been real active this game, but like you just said, Riley, that final ball has been lacking.
Anderson with a great tackle. The defensive line has been great. The fullbacks maybe not so much in the second half, but Anderson and Olacon cutting out the cross. Well done, well done. It was a great ball over the top as well.
Luis Estevez crosses it into the onrushing Chris Wahan, who got his head on it and only a few feet wide there, Riley. They're really knocking on the door. You have to imagine that.
They are, and they have the whole second half, it seems like, but the defensive line is holding strong, and a great save from the goalkeeper, the captain. Seems to be the talisman so far in this half.
Captain pushes it forward up the field off the goal kick. Here is Edgar. Edgar beats a player real slick, as we had just mentioned, moving forward. That was Chico Sastre, excuse me. Turned over though early. Here's Seattle. Seattle moving forward with Frankie Lopez, who finds Nico Hansen. Nico Hansen trying to create some room for himself. Bevins back again from the forward position.
Bevins has been really impressive this half. Not afraid to take part in his defensive duties, but also getting ahead, supplying balls into the forward area.
DeHaul is wide open with a little bit of space here on the right flank.
You have to say Bevins has been a jack of all trades this game. He's played in almost every position except for goalkeeper. He's also made a couple of clearances off the line for on corner kicks and that sort of delivery.
Yeah, if you were just watching 10 seconds of this game at a time, you would have no idea what position he's playing. Sometimes he's up top, chasing down the long ball. Sometimes he's in the midfield, distributing wide. And he's even been back, clearing it out in defense and picking the ball off the Seattle forwards. Really great display, and an underrated display from Bevins. He's the workhorse of this team.
Yeah, you have to say all the efforts have been funneling through the right side. First with Vasquez and now with. Oh, it seems like that tackle was going to be called, and the ref refused to do so.
Streaking across the middle is Davis, Edgar, but nobody found him. Distributed wide instead to Chance Burgeon. Chance up the left flank, goes back. Bevins is there, crosses it first time back. Here is DeHollis, whose slotted effort aiming for the back post was just blocked wide. Here is the goalkeeper out, playing for LUFC, the captain, distributes it wide. Flares going off in the Red Aces section, anticipating their first victory. However, 10 minutes still remain in this game. 80 minutes gone and 10 to go. A little bit of offense being generated now. Oh, Kyrie almost broke through. Seattle now on attack.
You have to say that effort from DeHollis would have been some sort of goal. Great block from the defense, though. You have to say maybe the smoke might make it difficult for the defender and the goalkeeper here.
Here's Seattle finding a shot, just cleared out by a great underrated clearance from Edgar Gomez. He almost did the splits there, keeping that ball out.
Great defensive play again, but you have to say it has been coming for some time. Chances are being created, and that one reverse effort almost curled in the far post. Would have been some goal as well.
Matt Bersano taking his time on this goal kick, looking forward. Finding the head of Michael King. With speed comes LUFC, bodies moving forward. Oh. And a tough tackle, a tough but fair tackle it seemed, as the ball was won, but called back for his studs being up, it must be. Riley, what's your take on that tackle?
That made me shudder just looking at that challenge. That was a really intense two-footed challenge. I'm surprised to see the Lane United player getting up right now.
What weight does it have that he did win the ball, although his studs were up on that?
It's the follow-through. It really is. He got him with a trailing leg.
And it is a red card. It is a second yellow for number 3 on Seattle Sounders. That's Clement Simonin. Sees red, and 10 men will have to be the comeback kings for Seattle Sounders here with 8 minutes remaining.
And you heard the response from the Lane United fans. Everyone out of their seats cheering and clapping along. It was a reckless challenge, and really he needed to go.
And go he does. 10 players out now for Seattle, still trailing 1-0 to LUFC in their inaugural game in the PDL, and their inaugural game as a club here, based out of the second most populated area in Oregon, the Eugene-Springfield area. After the success of the Portland Timbers selling out their stadium in Portland, Oregon, almost every single game, and the huge contingent in Timbers Army that is there loud and proud every game, you can see the Red Aces are trying to emulate the great support that is seen in our 2-hour north neighbor in Portland, and so far they've done well, and the drums are beating, and 11 men versus 10, it's looking good right now for Lane United, Riley.
Yeah, the fans have really been backing the team, and it's been great to see the passion, the excitement, the chants, cheers, sometimes jeers. Oh, and it looks like the game is getting a bit more physical now. That's another player down. It looks like Anderson, the center back.
That is Brendan Anderson, the 22-year-old from OSU. Looks like he was struck in the stomach, perhaps his left leg.
It looks like some contact in his stomach or maybe groin area.
Perhaps just got the wind knocked out of him, needs to stretch it out and breathe a little bit before play continues. We'll take this time to thank our sponsors once again. Oakshire Brewing is proudly serving their Oakshire brews here at the Willamette Lane Center in Springfield, Oregon. Also, Tensegrity and Slocum, thank you for your sponsorships, as well as the Tetherow Golf Course based out of Bend, Oregon. Sidelines Grill and Sports Bar, also a main sponsor of LUFC. Head down there to eat and watch LUFC games in the future, thank you to Kick City Sports Park, based out of Eugene. Go there to play indoor soccer. They have the premier indoor soccer leagues in the Lane County area. Holiday Inn, who hosts all of the teams that travel here to play against LUFC, so thank you to Holiday Inn for their hospitality and their welcoming of Lane United and Lane United's competitors into the Lane County area. Once again, thank you to Two Town Cider for also being a sponsor, and Adidas for our apparel.
It looks like Anderson has been subbed off due to injury. Not sure. We're waiting on confirmation for the newly introduced player, but it seems as if John Gallus is not willing to take any chances when his players go down.
Especially up 1-0, it's not worth perhaps risking an injury.
And down to 10 men for the opposing team.
5 minutes left here to go at the Willamette Lane Center. The sun has fully set, getting chilly, and the breeze has not subsided. You might be able to hear the wind still in the microphones. Great fan turnout here at the Willamette Lane Center. The kids lining the sidelines, eager and happy to watch their local semi-professional team. Here is Seattle. He really dipped his body into that, hoping for the foul, and that's a pretty unfair yellow card, at least in my opinion. He definitely dug his shoulder into it. We're getting indication that there was a jersey tug there, so perhaps it was a just yellow.
It seemed like a cynical challenge to me. He knew he was beaten, and he needed to make sure his man was brought down, and he did just that. Probably a smart thing to do. A professional foul is what they call it, but you know, it might cost him here at the set piece, especially with 10 men. This is where teams are going to score goals if they're down a man.
And Riley, we saw this. We saw a pretty parallel shot earlier this half from about the same exact spot. Last time there were about 3 people standing over the ball. Now there's only 1. Will it be a shot? It will. High, rising all the way over into the net, behind the net that he's supposed to be aiming in. Poor effort there from Seattle, though it is promising to get that opportunity this late in the game.
It is, but I feel like that was the wrong decision. You pump men forward, you take the opportunity, grab the bull by the horn, so to speak. You get it to your center backs, you get it to your tall men, and get a body onto it. He chose the wrong option there, in my opinion.
Seattle wins the 50-50 ball in the back, though only finding Phillips, who lets it run out for a throw-in.
The ref urging play on. After Phillips wanted to slow the game down even further with just 3 minutes remaining in stoppage time.
Good one-touch play there from Lane United, though it was cut out. Although finding room up the left. Here's Bevins with a little bit of space. Bevins gets his head up, opts to put it back down and dribble as no one was quite ready for it in the box. We will have a deflection out. Will be a Seattle throw, and here is Hansen with the throw.
Severovich makes a 40-50 yard sprint down the wing. He's a little unfortunate that he didn't receive the return ball from Bevins. Good defense from Seattle, though, and it looks like there was a push there as well.
87 minutes gone, about 3 minutes and change left remaining. Looking promising for Lane United with the 1-0 lead, really from one of the few great opportunities in this game that they capitalized on. Dominated in the second half by Seattle. Perhaps there's a little left in this game, but as of now, it looks like a comfortable win for Lane United.
Alarcon and Anderson have been great at the back.
Oh, what a flick, excuse me, Riley. Oh, offsides call on Bevins, although the crowd are reacting accordingly.
He would have been in on goal there. That was a great opportunity. Just mistimed his run, got a little bit too eager. A rush of blood to the head, if you will.
Surprising to see 4 people up ahead of the ball for Lane United, considering that they are up 1-0. Now they're moving back, taking their time. John Gallus has got to be urging them to move back as an opportunity was had by Seattle moments earlier.
And you can see Gallus on the touchline instructing his players to not give up anything on this corner kick. This is not the way to concede a goal in almost the 90th minute.
We haven't spoken too much about Coach John Gallus. He attended a Football Industries BA program in Liverpool as a wild bicycle kick almost hit the head, perhaps did hit the head of an LUFC player. Only a free kick given. Cards are left in the pocket. We will track this injury, and 2 minutes left here remaining. We haven't mentioned John Gallus, who attended a Football Industries MBA program in Liverpool before joining the Real Salt Lake Academy team, which he coached, and has a few players here from that that academy team that he has recruited, including the subbed off Francisco Viscano. And he is really active on the touchline, Riley. Does that hurt his players? Does that help his players?
It can only help him. He's there to motivate. He's there to pass on instructions. You could see in the first 15 or so minutes of the game he was a bit more reserved, and a slip there by the Sounders players, cheered by the United supporters. But John Gallus has come out and really tried to urge his players on, especially now. And here it goes.
Here is the substitute, Chico Sastre, who has silky smooth foot skills. We'll see if he can beat his man. Opts for the smart option of finding a man in support back. Turned over cheaply by LUFC. We are moving on to the 90th minute here. Just seconds remaining in this match. The ref has his eyes on his watch and has his whistle to his mouth, remaining to be seen how much extra time will be added. We have reached the 90-minute mark. One last opportunity perhaps for Seattle, and they find a streaking man. Down 10 men, I must remind you. Seattle looking for a last gasp. Oh, Bersano with his fist to save the effort from finding an open man on the back post. Chipped up and forward. Here comes LUFC. What a touch! What a touch from Kyrie Shelton. The jersey grabbed by Seattle. Yellow card coming out for number 4, who has been great this game, Michael King. Lucky that that's his first yellow of the game, and lucky that he was even able to get a hand on Kyrie, because if he hadn't, he would have been gone with numbers forward. That could have been 2-0.
Such a smooth touch from Kyrie, the forward player. Kyrie Shelton managed to get a hand on him, Michael King, the center back for Seattle. But otherwise, he would have been clean on goal, and Sylvester was making a gut-busting run into the box, would have been found. And now that we're deep into stoppage time, this might be the last kick of the game. And it looks like they will go into the corner.
And it will get touched out for a Lane United throw-in. 90th minute reads on the clock. The fans are starting to get a little anxious here, a little bouncing. They're ready to celebrate the first ever professional game for Lane United, and presumably the first ever professional victory for Lane United.
Unless something remarkable happens, I think it will be that victory, and it will be the 3 points they need.
LUFC chants ringing around the Willamette Lane Center here in Springfield, Oregon. Seattle throwing bodies forward. The ref directs the throw-in to be moved back, and Seattle pushing all their men up top to try to get a desperation goal before the whistle blows for full time. Dohalis just clears the ball up about 30 feet in the air to himself, perhaps to kill time. Turned over. LUFC now back on the ball. Good spray wide.
Great spreading of the play out wide.
Oh, and that's a hit that you would liken to hockey more than soccer, though. The ref keeps the cards in the pocket. Big hip check, and Lane United player is down. The physios will come out to examine him. That was a harsh tackle, perhaps a little frustration here at this first loss of the season in the first game for the Seattle Sounders U23, where you probably would have labeled them as favorites coming into this game against an LUFC squad that has never played together professionally.
You would. They're an established team. They've been around for a couple of years. Yes, they are youth and reserve side, but it looks like Lane United have showed up and we're ready to play, and they proved it on the pitch today.
So we've spoken highly of many players on LUFC and Seattle alike, but Riley, moving forward, who do you have your eye on for the next game? And before you dive into that, I must say that just introduced for LUFC was Daley Stevens, the midfielder, 22 years old, out of Eugene, Oregon, a local boy here, played on the club team at the University of Oregon. I actually had the chance to play with him a few years back, and he's a clever player. He has very quick feet, and it's great to see a local player getting minutes in the squad, even if it is in the 90th minute.
I have to say that I was really interested in Dohalis' performance. I thought he was excellent attacking, defensively, on the counter, really holding possession. But you have to say Valquez was phenomenal today on the left and right wings.
Matt Bersano, the captain, out for perhaps his last save of the game. We must be in about the 92nd, 93rd minute now. You can't imagine too much more time, and the full-time whistle goes. The kids are rushing the field.
Pandemonium here.
You don't see that very often in professional soccer, but it's great to see the fans and the kids getting involved. And what a game here at the Willamette Lane Center. Riley, highlight of the match for you, what is it?
I would like to say it's the goal, but I don't think it is. I think it's a save from the captain from Lane United. Great save, down low, just strong hands, kept Lane United in the game. That is the moment of the match for me.
As the kids rush the field, urging and hoping for high fives from the players who are duly obliging. It's good to see the players have a good relationship with the fans here. Very excited to get high fives from all of the local kids. And as fans start streaming out of the Willamette Lane Center, Riley, impressions from both teams. What do you think we need to look for improvements for Lane United come their next game?
Well, I think this is always going to be a trial run for John Gallus, the coach, and he knows that his players haven't had time to gel, and they haven't had a lot of time together to really get to know each other's playing style. So I think this will be kind of a benchmark for John Gallus to really assess where his team's at. Plenty of substitutions, unfortunately some injuries, but hopefully in the future he'll know exactly where his players are at.
So Lane United played with a 4-3-3 today-ish. You saw some players dropping back on defense, sometimes switching to more of a 4-5-1. However, do you think the 4-3-3 formation worked for them, and do you think it'll work for them against a team who's playing a less traditional format than Seattle Sounders 4-2-2?
Well, you did see John Gallus switch it up at halftime. He opted for the 4-5-1 to Shelvin up top, but I really feel like he was so effective in the first half with the 4-3-3, possession-based, with the creative midfielders passing balls out wide, and that's what really got them the goal from Vasquez's energy and movement.
All right, closing thoughts here, Riley. First ever professional game for Lane United, first ever professional victory. It really looked like a strong squad out there for LUFC, but it must be mentioned, this is a deep squad. There's 30-plus players here. Many of them did not get the opportunity to play today. Do you think John will be sticking to this squad that has already proven to be a winning squad, or do you think he will start giving other players chances and introduce them and kind of have that mystery and see what, kind of test the waters and see what works the best?
I'll tell you what, Connor, there's no way the same starting 11 plays next week. He's going to switch up the team. There's 33 players. That's more than some professional teams even, and he's going to see really the capabilities of his whole squad. But you have to admit, he'll be happy with what he's seen today.
All right, well, once again, I want to thank all of you for tuning in and watching on YouTube. We will be streaming live beginning next week for future games of LUFC. Please check out laneunitedfc.com, our website. Please follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you once again to all of the broadcast staff up here, Jake, Riley, Dylan, and Chris, and thank you for the fans. We will see you next week.